Doubled $10,000 in just 7 years. Most people think that timeline is impossible, but it's all about using the right financial shortcut. If you're a working professional frustrated by slow growth in your savings account, this is going to flip your understanding of building wealth. Most people believe it takes 20 or even 30 years to turn a $10,000 starting amount into $20,000. But that's simply not accurate. The real secret is a little-known trick called the Rule of 72, and it can completely overhaul your approach to money. In this video, I'll break down exactly how long it really takes for your money to double with real examples, real numbers, and real pitfalls. I'll even show you how some people cut that timeline in half. Legally. Stay with me, and you'll walk away knowing exactly how fast your net worth could grow, what mistakes to avoid, and what to do next. Ready? Let's dive in. First, let's break down the math behind money doubling, because this isn't about luck. It's about understanding the formula that nearly every seasoned investor uses to map out their future wealth. The magic trick here is called the Rule of 72. The idea is simple. Take the number 72 and divide it by your annual rate of return. That's it. The answer tells you the number of years it'll take for your money to double, given that rate. For example, if you're earning 8% on your investments, you'd calculate 72 divided by 8, which gives you 9. So your money doubles every 9 years. If your money is sitting in a basic account earning 4%, it'll be 72 divided by 4, 18 years until it doubles. Pretty straightforward, right? But here's where most people get tripped up. They're stuck in low-yield vehicles because they think doubling is always a slow, decades-long process. Let me bust the first myth. A lot of folks leave money in regular savings, thinking it's safe and reliable, but the trade-off is time. Say you have $10,000 in a savings account earning 3%. Using our Rule of 72, that's 24 years to double your money. That's longer than 2 decades. Almost. A quarter of a lifetime for many. Sure, your money feels safe, but inflation is eating away at it every single year. With average inflation rates hovering close to 3%, your gains can easily get wiped out. In other words, the growth in a traditional savings account is almost invisible once you factor in inflation. If you've ever felt like you worked hard, saved consistently, and still felt like you were standing still, this is why. Now, what if you're willing to take a little risk for a lot more growth? Let's examine what happens if you put that same $10,000 into an S&P 500 index fund, which has historically returned about 10% per year, according to NYU Stern data. Remember, this is educational only, not financial advice. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Consult a licensed financial advisor for your situation. Here's the math. 72 divided by 10 is just over 7 years. So your $10,000 could double to $20,000 in less time than it takes many people to pay off a car. Now, imagine if you could repeat that doubling cycle throughout your entire working life. Every doubling gets you closer to life-changing numbers. But you should also know, those 10% average annual returns come with a major catch. The stock market doesn't move in a straight line. You'll see wild drops, maybe 20% in a bad year, sometimes even 40 to 50% in a crash like 2008. The real growth goes to those who can stomach the volatility and keep investing through the ups and downs. Drop a comment below. How long did it take for your biggest investment to double? Or are you still waiting to experience that first 2x? I want to see what stages everyone's at and how you're thinking about this timeline. Let's turn things up. Imagine you invest in a high-growth ETF or pick the right individual stocks. Again, not a guarantee. Investing in individual stocks comes with higher risk. If you're able to lock in a 12% average return, your money doubles every 6 years. So $10,000 becomes $20,000 in 6 years, $40,000 in 12 years, and $80,000 in 18 years. Serious. In the real world, higher returns come from greater volatility, and there's no guarantee of consistent results year after year. Not everyone achieves 12%, and some years will see losses, sometimes big ones. Always diversify and understand your risk profile. Reminder, this is for educational purposes only. Consult a licensed financial advisor and research carefully before making investment decisions. Now let's add a real story. Meet Sarah, one of my subscribers on Mark Invests, who switched her financial strategy at age 30. For a decade, she left her savings at 3%, getting almost nowhere. After discovering index funds and learning about the rule of 72, she shifted to an asset allocation targeting an 8% return. In 12 years, her $15,000 grew to nearly $30,000, doubling while her old savings account would have barely reached $21,000. She later added a $500 monthly contribution. Fast forward another doubling cycle, and her portfolio exploded to over $75,000 simply by combining steady contributions with compounding market growth. Her big realization? Early discomfort in the market paid off massively versus playing it safe for 25 years. Now, let's talk about real estate. Because a lot of you ask me whether you can accelerate wealth even faster with property. Real estate investing can offer leverage. You control a big property with a comparatively small down payment, multiplying your returns if the market rises. Sometimes, including appreciation and rental income, investors target 15% or even 20% annual returns. Use the rule of 72. 72 divided by 15 is 4.8 years to double 72. Divided by 20 is just 3.6 years. Now, pause. Not every real estate deal works out. Costs for repairs and periods of no tenants chip away at returns. And you must account for much higher risk and more hands-on management. Remember, high returns always come with high risk. Never invest more than you can afford to lose. And get professional guidance if you're new to real estate. But now you see, it's not just about doubling once. Each time your money doubles, the next doubling happens faster in dollar terms because you're compounding on a much larger base. The first doubling from $10,000 to $20,000 might take the longest. Serious. The second, $20,000 to $40,000, happens at the same speed but is twice as big. By the time you reach $80,000, your next doubling is a massive $160,000. That's why exponential growth feels slow at first, but then suddenly takes off. A classic hockey stick effect. Most people never see this because they pull out early or don't contribute consistently. Here's another curiosity trigger. Did you know that just increasing your return by a few percentage points can completely change your future net worth? Later on, I'll show you a scenario where a 2% extra return makes the difference between $100,000 and over $250,000. Let's talk about inflation for a moment because it's the silent killer of slow growth strategies. Earning 3% can feel safe until you realize inflation is at 3% as well. That means your real return, your money's true purchasing power, is basically zero. But aim for 10% returns in the market, and even after accounting for inflation, most of your gains remain intact. You're actually growing wealth in terms of what you can buy, not just on paper. Now, a lot of beginners shrug at 7 or 8% returns, thinking it's not life-changing. But remember, with the rule of 72, 8% means your money doubles every 9 years. Double twice, and $10,000 becomes $40,000. Triple it, and you hit 80,000. Each cycle multiplies your balance until you're looking at numbers that seemed unrealistic at the start. But here's where it gets really exciting. What if you combine consistent investing with regular contributions? That's where compounding rockets into a new dimension. Let's break it down. Start with $10,000 in the S&P 500. If you add $500 every month, a solid but achievable 10% of the median United States after-tax income, after 7 years at a 10% return, your money could grow to over $80,000. Use a simple future value calculator to check this for yourself. FV equals PV times, open parentheses, 1 plus R, close parentheses, to the power of N, plus PMT times, open parenthesis, 1, plus R, close parenthesis, to the power of N, minus 1, close parenthesis, divided by R, close parenthesis, where PV is your starting amount, R is your monthly rate, N is total months, and PMT is your monthly contribution. Take it a step further. Start with $100,000 and add $500 per month at 10%. After 7 years, you're looking at over $250,000, all from stacking steady monthly contributions on top of initial capital. Imagine a snowball that gets bigger with every turn. Same force, much greater mass. Pause and screenshot this framework if you want to reference the numbers and formulas later. And if you're finding this shortcut changes how you think about money, don't forget to subscribe for more real-world money math every week here on Mark Invests. But what if you can double your money faster without just chasing higher returns? Here's an angle most people miss. Reducing expenses, freeing up more to invest, or making one smart financial choice. For example, cutting $500 in monthly spending instantly doubles your investable cash. If you were previously saving $500, or refinancing a loan at a lower interest saves you $300 a month. With that, money going back into your investment plan. That's doubling through money management, not just market growth. Let's visualize this further. Think about what happens when you reach 4, 5, or even 6 or 7 doublings. The math becomes wild fast. Start with $10,000. First doubling, 7 years at 10%, $20,000. Second doubling, $40,000. Third, $80,000. Fourth, $160,000. Fifth, $320,000. Sixth, $640,000. Seventh, $1,280,000. That's right. Even small, regular investments can put you on track to a 7-figure outcome. And this is crucial, the earlier you start and the more consistent you are, the more times you get to pass through each doubling. Most people give up too soon or never get past the second doubling, missing out on the real payoff. Our brains are wired to think in straight lines, a linear path, but compounding is exponential. You start slow, climbing one stair at a time, and before you know it, you're taking leaps so big you almost can't believe it's the same process. That's why even modest returns can make you wealthy if you stick with the plan, automate your contributions, and let compounding do its work in the background. Here's something most people never realize. It's not just how fast your investments double. It's how much of your total net worth is actually working for you. If you keep 80% of your wealth tied up in stuff that loses value, cars, gadgets, furniture, you're fighting an uphill battle. Even if you invest 10 to 20% of your net worth, it'll take massive effort to make any significant headway. The true breakthrough comes when you flip that ratio, putting 90% of your net worth into things that grow: stocks, index funds, ETFs, real estate, and other compounding assets. The growth starts to feel automatic, and each doubling becomes more and more significant. Let's anchor this with a quick stat. At a 10% annual return, $1 million invested means $100,000 a year in average gains based on long-term S&P 500 averages. Source: NYU Stern. That's more than many people make in salary, just from compounding. No extra work, no new job. Your money is working for you. Now, I want to take a second to thank Moomoo for sponsoring today's episode. They're currently offering a $20 bonus in NVIDIA stock when you deposit your first $100. Which is literally a 20% starter bonus. Plus, you can earn up to 8% annual percentage yield on uninvested cash for a limited time. I don't recommend chasing offers blindly, but if you want to try out a new platform, check the referral code in the comments. Again, make smart decisions and always compare rates and read the fine print before signing up. And remember, no offer replaces the power of disciplined, long-term investing and compounding. Let's land all this with one last tip I want you to try. I built a free compound growth calculator that you can download. Plug in your own numbers, rate, and years, and instantly see when your money could double next, or how a small change in returns can lead to a massive difference 20 years from now. I'll show you exactly how to grab it in the closing section. Just a quick note. All examples in this video are for educational purposes, not advice. Actual market performance can swing dramatically, and investing involves real risk, including loss of principal. Never base your entire plan on averages, and consult a licensed financial advisor for your unique situation. Past performance does not predict future results. Now, here's what I want you to do. Drop your age in the comments alongside what you wish you'd known about compounding a decade ago. Share if you've ever been caught in the linear thinking trap and how you broke out of it. The Mark Invest community is all about learning together. Let's quickly recap. The rule of 72 lets you see exactly how long it takes your money to double. Whether you're earning 3% in a savings account, 24 years, or aiming for market-level returns of 10%. 7 years. If you consistently invest, add to your portfolio, and make smart decisions to boost your average return, you multiply your wealth faster with every cycle. The biggest keys are starting early, prioritizing compounding assets, and avoiding the common mistake of thinking in a straight line instead of exponential leaps. So here's what to do next. First, run your own numbers. Use the rule of 72 and the compound growth calculator I'm offering for free. Plug in your current rate, your target rate, and actual contributions each month. Second, set a micro goal. Increase your investable percentage of net worth by just 5% this month. Maybe by selling depreciating items, or shifting extra cash from a low-yield account to a diversified index fund. But only after thorough research and consultation. Third, track your progress. Set quarterly reminders to recalculate your doubling timeline and see if your contributions or returns need adjustment. Use digital tracking tools or even a simple spreadsheet. I'll link my favorite templates below. And now, when will you actually see the results? If you can achieve an 8% annual return, your money could double every 9 years. With consistent monthly additions, you might notice significant progress in just 2 to 3 years, and exponential leaps a decade down the road. Before you go, subscribe to Mark Invests and turn on notifications. Next video, I'm diving into the exact index funds with real data and a full risk-return breakdown. Download the Compound Growth Calculator below. It's the tool I wish I'd had when starting out. Finally, leave a comment with your top money question for this year. Our next video may feature your question and a custom solution. And remember, nothing here is personal financial advice. Everything is for educational purposes only. Past performance doesn't predict future results, and you should always consult a licensed advisor before making major financial decisions. Stay smart, stay curious, and stay invested.